Welcome back to Penn State Sports Night. I'm Matt McLaughlin, joined alongside by Logan Barandis and Matthew Blutig. With only 4 weeks remaining in the college football season, some teams will try to maintain positioning, while others will try to pull off some minor miracles to get into the Final Four and contend for a national championship. So, gentlemen, who do you think will make the Final Four?
Well, let's get right into it. My predictions. I think that number one, it's going to be the reigning national champions in Georgia. They only look stronger than ever. They've had a few faults so far this season, but I still think they have what it takes to get by Tennessee this week and go the rest of the season undefeated, and that includes the SEC championship against Alabama. This Georgia team looks stacked on the defensive side. Stetson Bennett has another year at the helm at quarterback, so I think they'll have what it takes to get the number one spot. Similar thing at number two with Ohio State. They got past a big test in Penn State on the road, and they'll have one more big one against Michigan, which should be a fun one to watch, but I think they will still end up coming away with that Big Ten championship, whether it's Illinois or whoever else makes it out of the West. I think they'll make it there no problem and get the number two spot. We talked about Tennessee already. I think they'll be number three, as I think that Georgia loss that I'm predicting they will have will be the lone one for them on the season. Their remaining couple games on the schedule looks relatively easy, and of course they wouldn't make the SEC title game since Georgia would be in that spot. So I think Tennessee would hang on and get the number three spot. They've had some really impressive wins so far this year, Alabama being the big one, of course. And then TCU has been my surprise team at number four. There's a couple teams that could contend for that number four spot, but TCU has looked really strong so far this year. Out in the Big 12, that has been a complete mess so far this season, but the remaining couple of games in the schedule looks really favorable for TCU. Their toughest game, probably Texas in the regular season, and they'll play whoever they end up playing in that Big 12 championship, which could really be anyone at this point. So I think TCU definitely has what it takes to go undefeated. And if they go undefeated, it'd be kind of hard to put them out of the playoff conversation over a two-loss Alabama team or a one-loss Michigan team. I think TCU would probably be the best candidate for that four spot.
Matthew?
So I want to start off with my number one being Ohio State. You know, this is a high-powered offense. They have 8 wins now. They have C.J. Stroud. He's having a Heisman campaign. Marvin Harrison having a great year. And on the defensive side, you also have Tommy Eichenberg. He's leading that great defense. So I really do think they're my one seed right now, and I think they get past Michigan this upcoming week. And I think it's close, but I see them winning the Big Ten title against Minnesota or Purdue. So they're going to be my number one seed. Now, my number two is going to be Tennessee, because hot take here, I think they beat Georgia this upcoming week.
Whoa, we're getting a little frisky. I like it. Tell me why.
Hendon Hooker.
That's all I need to know.
That's the only word. Those are the only 2 words you need to know. He's, in my opinion, I think he's the best QB in the nation right now. Second in QBR. He's only thrown 1 interception. Interceptions, you cannot have turnovers to win games. And let's look at what he did against Alabama. Him and Jalen Hyatt had a Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes moment where they just played backyard football and they took it into their hands and won the game. And I think Tennessee gets by Georgia, like I said earlier, and they win the SEC championship by facing Bama later in the season. Now, at my 3 is Clemson. Logan didn't have Clemson in it, which blows my mind, because who are they going to lose to in the ACC? Sure, everyone says they don't deserve to be in because they didn't play the teams that they should have played and they don't have the credentials. But everyone that the NCAA has put in their way, they're going to get past. They have some good wins over Wake Forest, Florida State. So, and the team's relatively good as well. DJ Uiagalelei, he gets the job done at QB. And Will Shipley, I think, really is the story of that team at running back, having over 700 yards and 10 touchdowns right now. And then, like I said, I don't think TCU makes it in just because of the name, number one. And even if they're Big 12, I don't think they have the credentials. Georgia, I think they beat the rest of their opponents apart from Tennessee, and they just get into that 4 spot.
I like the sound of that, but there's always some couple of teams that are within striking distance. We mentioned Alabama. They're sitting at number 6 right now. Ole Miss is sneaking up there at number 11. Maybe they pull off a couple of upsets. And there's other teams that I'm missing at the moment, but that's just to give our audience an idea of what the title picture is looking like. Is there a team that could potentially sneak in that you guys think maybe is sitting outside the playoff picture right now, but a few weeks from now, they could be right in the thick of it in that top 4. Matt, do you want to go first?
Sure, yeah. So I want to say TCU. Yes. Like I said earlier, I don't think TCU has that good of a shot at making it, but they need a lot of things to go right in order to get in. But let's talk about their team. Max Duggan, top 10 in touchdowns thrown this year. He is having a great season. He's never had a season like this before. And then you have a backfield who Kendre Miller has over 800 yards this year, and he's really carrying the load in the backfield this year. And he's doing great things back there. And TCU hasn't had a team like this in a while. I don't remember the last time they were ranked number 7th.
I mean, I think Andy Dalton was at QB. The Red Rifle was behind taking snaps back then.
There you go. And then you have first-round pick in Quentin Johnson. Max Duggan's connection with him is really, really special. And he's over the 600-yard mark right now. So I think TCU, if a lot of good things go their way right now, and they win out the Big 12, they could potentially land in the college football playoffs, like Logan said.
Yeah, and that's a really great pick, not just because I had them in my college football playoff, but I'm going to go a little bit further down the rankings for my team, and I'm going to talk about the number 9 team in the USC Trojans. And the Pac-12, it's Halloween season. That whole conference decided to dress up like a whole bunch of frauds. So it's really up for grabs, really, who's going to win that conference. And USC was a big favorite coming out of it. They had their big 3 transferring in, Lincoln Riley, not really transferred, getting hired as the head coach at USC, and then Caleb Williams and Jordan Addison both getting transferred over there. So that offense looks really good so far to open up this season. And Caleb Williams, you talked about not turning the ball over, and it's a big key winning games. Caleb Williams only has 1 interception so far on the season, so he's been really efficient with the ball so far in his first year as a Trojan. And they only have 1 loss so far, which came against Utah, and they were a ranked opponent at the time. It was a 1-point loss, but they have a ton of chances to make it up on their resume. They are going to have a big game against UCLA coming up, not far behind them in the rankings, and be a big game for both sides. And then if the Trojans win that game, they'll have a potential Pac-12 championship coming up against a really good Oregon team if they can hold on. So that's immediately 2 big wins to boost the resume for USC and potentially get them in that college football playoffs. And we know that Lincoln Riley-led teams, they can find a way to sneak in to those playoffs. He's done that several times with Oklahoma. Granted, they haven't gone too far when he was with Oklahoma, but he knows how to get to the playoffs.
Well, there's one good thing, it's that we don't have Desmond Howard's bracket. So our bracket's got a pretty good chance. That does it for all of us here at Penn State Sports Night. From Logan Brandis and Matt Blutig, I'm Matt McLaughlin. Thanks for tuning in and have a great night.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night. We hope you liked that segment.
And we're sure there's other Penn State Sports Night segments that you are going to love as well. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content.
And check us out on social media for updates and behind the scenes clips and pics. Follow us on Twitter at PSSN TV and on Instagram at PSU Sports Night to keep up with all the action.
For all of us here at the Belisari Media Center, we are
Penn State Sports Night.